9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
What up, what up, good up, y'all. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and I am not alone. Man, if y'all are familiar with AfterBuzz, we go way back. Longtime host, analyst for sports and wrestling. Please welcome, and I guess AfterBuzz alum. Please welcome Josh Tariff. How are you doing?
Oh, TK, way to make both of us just feel so old with that.
I didn't say old. It's more like you know what you're talking about.
It's good to see you. It's good to talk with you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Yeah, because you did SmackDown, right?
I did the AfterBuzz SmackDown for many years. I did Tough Enough. I did Main Event for them.
Oh wow, I didn't know you did all those.
I was doing the some of the pay-per-views sometimes. I feel like I'm missing one too. I was there a lot.
There it is.
But I'm here now with you.
There it is.
Women's Wrestling Talk.
Appreciate it. So people are also here a lot. Jeffrey, he's here often. Shout out to Eric in the chat. Shout out to Rashonda as well. I haven't seen your name, but welcome. So let's get into it. Willow Nightingale, I am so happy for her. She re-signs with AEW. Now, here's the thing. She's been in the game for a long time. I was gonna say a long time. It's not like that. She's been in the game for a long time. She has done some stuff for AEW. Also been a champion. What do you think is going to be next for her with this new contract signing?
I think Willow Nightingale is incredible, honestly. Like, I really think she has the complete potential of being the top woman in AEW. Mm-hmm. We've only gotten a small taste, really, of her promo work, right, over the last few years, particularly with that feud she had with Mercedes. However, I really think, aside from Toni Storm, she is the top female babyface in AEW. She just makes you feel good. You're happy to see her. She can work any type of match. This is definitely a very smart move by AEW to lock her in, because she can go really anywhere she wanted if she chose to. So I'm glad she's staying put, and I hope they do the right thing and continue to elevate her. And who knows, maybe by the end of this year, first half of next year, she's in those heavyweight title matches with Toni. Or whoever it is.
So, with that being said, because we did talk about it offline, and I think somebody just said he looks familiar. Yes, Josh is from AfterBuzz. I don't know if you want to give them your AfterBuzz wrestling name. That Josh.
What's up? Yeah, I would go for a good chunk of my career on AfterBuzz. They would have me go by my wrestling persona, which is Christian Rosenberg, and which I still use at wrestling shows. I got to work a few shows out in Vegas over WrestleMania week, which was a blast. Latest show coming out here in California it's actually a benefit show called Wrestle for Autism with Pro Wrestling Odyssey in Santa Clarita, California on June 7th. So you can find Pro Wrestling Odyssey on social media for more info on that. But yeah, I'm still Christian Rosenberg around a ring. I'm sitting here talking. I'm just Josh.
That's the name of your book. I'm just Josh.
I'm just.
So we were talking about it before we got on air. As far as AEW, we watch AEW a lot. More Dynamite than Collision. As far as the women's division, because this has been a real topic of conversation. Because it just seems like, compared to the storylines where WWE's at and even where TNA's at. It just seems like it's kind of lacking. So what do you think could be done to improve the women's division on a whole? Or do you think it can't be improved? Because some people say, okay, well, we're asking for this and it's not happening, so therefore, why ask when there's other places that have, better, storylines, etc.
I mean, I agree. I do feel though there's things that can be done with it. For one, 4 out of 5 Wednesdays, there's one women's match, and it's usually right around, like if I'm thinking East time zone, so show starts at 8. That match happens right around 9:30-ish at night. It's always like around that same time. Now they have, recently been starting the show, like Tony Storm in the main event for a few weeks, or anything involving Tony Storm. So, like I feel like there was a match a few weeks ago. It was Megan Bayne and maybe Chris Statlander, which was like the main event. So they're doing great with Tony, but then there's everybody else.
Right.
So we got to find those additional storylines. And it's not like WWE's perfect. I mean, we just had the first non-title women's match at WrestleMania in many years between Naomi and Jade. So WWE does have the additional stories to an extent. Now, are they building them to pay-per-views or PLEs? Again, I'm still thinking way back, like you did in the intro. They're not PPVs anymore, but AEW, I mean, they have the talent with people. Sky Blue has just returned. Julia Hart, Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, Statlander, Willow, etc. They have good talent. How do we make them grow? How do we give them time? How do we let them have matches other than just that one spot on Wednesday nights? So I would have loved, I really thought when they were bringing in Collision and they still had Rampage at the time, I felt like, oh no, it's clearly one of these is going to become the all-female show. Rampage will be a woman's show type deal.
Right.
And that would have helped catapult these things. Obviously that didn't come to be. So we'll have to wait and see, but they have the talent for it. They just have to apply it.
It's kind of interesting, and I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna jump around our list because you kind of made reference to it, and Natalia was talking about her wanting to see an all-women show, and WWE has. So I mean, we had Evolution, we had Mae Young. I think Evolution's supposed to be coming back in the next couple of weeks, but there's no promo. So
we're having an all-women show like tomorrow.
Right. So with that being said, I mean, it's been floating around, and we have WoW. I mean, we have Shine. We have other shows that are women's based. I think WoW might be the only one that's on television. Do you think? And WoW's a different beast compared to like a WWE. So do you think AEW or WWE? Or maybe a WWE TNA, kind of mix can do a women's show. Not can they do a women's show, but do you think they'll be able to breathe for it to last? Because it can be done. We have more than enough women.
Right. The talent is there. That's not the issue. With any promotion, they have enough talent to do it.
Right.
I really think if there was a promotion to do it, it should be AEW, because if they're trying to gain more attention, well, what better way than on the Turner platform with HBO Max? Hey, between these partnerships, we are now showing an all-women show, even if it's just a 1-hour show. That's fine. The fact that, hey, we are displaying, because women's wrestling, as you know, I mean, you kind of know a couple things about women's wrestling.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. It's better than ever. Like, as far as the talent pool, and the quality of the matches that we do get to see. So if advertised correctly, and again, I think AEW, if they want to, take quote unquote take risks, in other words, like, hey, try to display something that WWE hasn't, then they should absolutely do it. And again, and you got people like Willow and Statlander and Megan Bayne. Doesn't mean they don't have to appear on Dynamite or Collision.
Right.
But it will also help promote, hey, promo, I'll see you on this show.
Right.
To the women.
Yeah, it just takes good writing, and that's where the I don't know if it's a growing pains thing for AEW or what the rumors are saying as far as the fake TK, as our WWT folks family likes to call him, that he doesn't, it's not an important of a thing, or they just don't have enough people back there actually writing the stories. Like I feel like the era that, and maybe you can agree with me or not, or disagree with me, I feel like the era that when we were covering SmackDown and Raw, the last kind of part of the Vince era, like the stories were dreadful. Like Raw in particular, I'll speak for Raw, it was just like, okay, we can rally through this. Whereas now the stories are so great, they have many different stories, etc. But it took a whole new regime for that to happen. So could it just be, the people who are in charge, they're just not seeing it? Or it's just a conundrum given, where we are right now in society, and we're no longer doing, we're best friends, we're no longer best friends, let's fight. There's so much more to that. So I don't know. We'll see. Bosa saying, look at the women's match tonight on commentary. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they're having Mina Shirakawa tonight because she's having a match with Tony on the pay-per-view. But I'm curious to see for tonight at Dynamite, will that be the only women's match / segment? And you'll see Marina Shafir with whatever Moxley is doing, but it's not going to be, her in like a match per se.
Right.
So I'd be intrigued to see, okay, is that the one and only real women's focus on the show? Because that's how it's been.
Yeah. Fun fact, I didn't know this. I wonder if you knew this. Jimmy Hart confirms he sang the female part of Shawn Michaels' "Sexy Boy" theme song. Did you know that?
I knew that he wrote it. I don't know if I knew that he was the actual female part, which now disturbs me. Jimmy Hart has done so many more things than anyone knows. Like one day there should just be, like a special of like, hey, did you know Jimmy Hart wrote this and did this and managed this and wrestled this person and did this and created that. And there's so many more things than people realize. He is one of the most, if not the most underrated manager personalities of all time. Even though he is in the Hall of Fame, he's still underrated.
Yeah, it's. Do you? Also, here's the thing. Do you think? Because as generations, get older and new crops of fans come, do you think the fact that Paul Heyman is still in the game, people often forget Jimmy Hart?
I think you're right with that, and I wish it was the other way around. I feel like having Paul Heyman in the game should help people remember guys like Paul Heyman, or no, guys like Jimmy Hart, guys like Slick, guys like Paul Bearer, guys like Harvey Whippleman, girls like Elizabeth and Sensational Sherry. Because as a guy who works as a manager and obviously work with that, even in the independent scene, is few and far between, because the manager is really one of the more lost arts in pro wrestling nowadays.
Yeah.
Because it's more so, I mean, you watch AEW, you know, you watch Will Ospreay matches or Ricochet or whoever, not trying to pinpoint them, but obviously it's incredible acrobatic moves. And not as much as far as the storytelling from people on the outside, no pun intended, advocating for others.
Right.
And Heymon obviously is incredible at that, but there are so many other people that have been good at that and should get their flowers for it. And there are more people out there that can do it and would really help some people as far as getting, whether it's the individual over or the story over. They help, managers help more than today's fans realize.
Do you think it's a lost art because we're not seeing as many managers?
Yes, I do.
So why are we not seeing as many managers?
Because it's more people, just like, you know, it's I'm gonna sound so old. It's like, you know, like the TikTok generation, you know, it's just like, hey, wow me now. Let's go. And so with that, because you have managers, well, they got to stir the pot. They got to get stuff brewing before any type of payoffs happen. And obviously when the payoffs happen with Paul Heyman, you know, like we just saw at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins and stuff, you know, everyone goes nuts because, oh, here's what was cooking. But with so many others, and this isn't just like an AEW thing. I mean, it's everywhere.
Right.
Where it's just like, okay, well, you know what? We need these people on TV. We're gonna throw them in a 6-man tag. We're gonna throw them in an 8-man tag. Right. We're gonna make an extra battle royal, whatever it is. But we're not giving them the opportunity of, hey, this guy can help people explain not who this person is, but why they do what they do.
Right.
And there's certainly room for those people. Like, I mean, if I look at someone like Robert Stone in NXT, who also used to wrestle, he used to manage people. I think he still can manage people if done the right way, because he can help build them up. And this isn't a thing like, oh, every wrestler needs it. God, no. I have worked wrestling shows myself where they told me, hey, tonight you're going to manage that guy. And I was seeing what the guy was about and seeing his work. I'm just like, well, this guy doesn't need a manager. This guy does. So it's just a matter of picking, you know, the right pairings. But managers can really help. If you're trying to put over stories, managers can ideally implement those.
Sindale saying it happened because wrestlers are pushed to be their own voice boxes so much these days. The manager role has minimized as such. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love to see a wrestler cook in a promo, but then when you see them, you know, essentially just boil eggs in a promo, it's not so good. Not everybody's going to be great at speaking. And, you know, it's just one of those things where it's a good asset to have because it makes you more valuable to the company. Because, you know, if you take, for instance, Brock Lesnar, like now when he has the mic, it's like a scary funny at the same time. I don't know how he managed to achieve that, but he managed to do it. Really
I love how you brought up Brock Lesnar, because he is an epitome of example of this. Lesnar can talk. You know, once upon a time when he first started, not so much, but he can definitely talk. He would still have Paul Heyman, you know, with him over the run. But then all of a sudden, when Brock grabbed the microphone, which obviously was a rarity, so when he did, that's when you heard the crowd. It was just like, oh, wait, can I swear on here? I don't know how you're showing.
You can swear.
It was like, oh, shit. Brock's mad. He's about to say something. So it's just like, but because the manager had it cooking, and all of a sudden, oh, now his monster is so angry, the manager can no longer speak for him because he's just so agitated, and that builds something, that means something.
Right.
Like I currently manage a guy who's legit 7 feet. He goes by Alex, the anomaly Alex Ace, and the guy can talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm his voice box typically at a lot of shows.
Right.
When the day comes that he takes the mic for me, which I hope is not for a long, long time, because I love working with him.
Good job.
But whenever that day comes, because it will, because it's wrestling, the crowd is going to be like, "Uh-oh, what's happening now?" Because he wants to talk. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely quite interesting with that. Kind of sad news, because I feel like she was just starting to kind of get her run. So Zoe Stark, she was removed from Raw due to an injury, and I feel like we had so many cuts. And Zoe to me is a little bit of a conundrum, meaning that I don't want to say they haven't given her. She's earned a lot of opportunities, but it's like either they can't figure her out as far as the writing, or I don't know what it is. There's just something that's kind of it's like missing a little bit. And now we add this injury. Obviously, not planned or anything, but add this injury. Like, what happens next when she comes back?
I want to be optimistic and say like when she comes back, because she's so strong, she's so tough. Honestly, and I've been on record with this. I have considered Zoe Stark the most underrated, not female competitor, but the most underrated wrestler on Raw. Because she can do everything. And she dealt with knee injuries. Then they weren't sure what to do with her. Then they put her with a powerful team with Shayna and Sonya. And then they stopped that. And then they release Sonya and Shayna. And now this was opportunity. It was like, all right, well, let's try a repackage again. And just a horrible, devastating injury to happen. And I mean, and I know I'm just completely, spitballing here. I was convinced that Rhea was not supposed to win that match. I was convinced that, Kairi just came back 6 months after an injury. She was supposed to beat Zoe in that match and be in, because it's, you don't typically have, like, at least in the last few years, you haven't had the top star in the actual ladder match.
Right.
Which Rhea on Monday Night Raw is certainly that top star in the women's division. So I was convinced, this is for, Kairi's returning. She's going to beat Zoe. Something's going to happen. Rhea's not going to advance with further some story. And then the injury happened. So naturally they had to call some type of audible. And that's what they decided to go with. With all that said, Zoe is so tough with even her past knee injuries that she's had. I don't know if there's been any news. I haven't seen anything as far as what the extent of the injuries have been up to this point. I don't know if you've seen anything, but obviously wishing her the best and hope it's something that she can recover from and make a comeback.
So Bosa saying the thing is, I think they are trying to make the women's Money in the Bank so damn star-studded, probably because of Evolution 2. I don't get. I always chuckle a little bit because I don't get it, because there hasn't been much talk about Women's Evolution 2, and it's literally around the corner. Like we're rounding the corner into the back half of May right now. I definitely do get for any pay-per-views, especially when it's in LA or major cities, the star, like, I think I forgot what city it was for Raw, but they brought, like, he wasn't like anybody from NXT. Like, he was somebody, but he was, I think it was like somebody from the military. No shade to the military, but we're not when you come to like LA or New York, you're not highlighting them. You're highlighting some guy who's in a comedy special on Netflix, or you're hiring this person, or you go to Atlanta, you get all these artists and stuff like that. So I just feel like definitely where WWE is right now, KO, Netflix, all that stuff, it definitely wants to be star-studded. I don't know if it's because of Evolution too. I just, just because.
Well, I guess the thing with that is, well, if you're trying to load up that one match, what will that have to do then for Evolution 2? How is that going to be helping that? Because there's only going to be one winner.
Right.
And I know, so SmackDown's matches, Charlotte, Zelina, and Julia, I mean, in my opinion, they'll have Julia win, since you already got Roxanne in it, and like you want the new blood, in it. So I'm predicting Julia wins, but obviously it could very well be any one of the three. All of them, A, deserve, and B, will put on a great performance in that type of match.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, Evolution 2, like you said, it's supposed to be in a few weeks. We're getting more, publicity for Saturday night's main event than we are for Evolution 2. And Saturday night's main event suddenly is like a pay-per-view type.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like all-star tag match, cage match, title match. And again, what are we doing with Evolution?
Yeah. Saturday Night Main Event is definitely it's becoming a thing, and I think it's the marketing, which is, again, it goes to, and I know somebody said it's because they switch locations, but I mean, if we have locations a year in advance for some of these pay-per-views, like the only thing I could think of is, you probably want a smaller venue. Because it's going to be a little bit more of an intimate setting, and maybe AEW has more of these smaller venues now because AEW has shifted into the smaller venues, which is a good move. Thankfully, somebody decided to pull that trigger.
I love how Dynamites have looked like in these theaters that they've been taken out, because the setup has been different with like the extra balcony seatings and things like that. And it feels, obviously it's smaller, so it looks and sounds more packed. Right. But just the vibe of it doesn't feel like your traditional wrestling show.
Right. And
they're not trying to be that. So why haven't they done this sooner?
I feel like there was one point, again, kind of funny, but not. At one point, I remember Tony Khan was just like, he was doing all these tweets and he was saying that, they're better than WWE, or he was kind of really, he was in real competition with WWE. Right. And I feel like now, obviously he has a lot of things going on. And I feel like somebody said, calm down on let's run our own race. Like, we can't be in the same stadiums as they've been doing this for 20 plus years. And so I feel like, with that being said, in all businesses, especially if you get to last a certain period of time, you get to a certain point, and then there might be a falter, and you either can dismantle it, which is, I think, a cop out, or you take a step back. You analyze the situation, you make decisions to grow it even further. Like, that's how businesses who've been around for 20 plus years have lasted this long. When we talk about that Vince era of when we were just like, oh my gosh, we have to do this after show. And now we made it to the other side and we're loving it. So, there's all of that.
I completely agree with you, because, like those first couple of years of AEW, it felt different. And obviously the crowds were hot. And it was must-see TV. Then, to your point, we want to show that we're just good, if not better than WWE. Well, you're not WWE. And I'm not saying you're not WWE as an insult. I'm just saying you're not WWE because it's a different product.
Right.
So you by acting like you want to try to be like them, hurt you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And now these last few months, they've kind of shifted gears and noticed it in the venues, in the crowd reactions, and in the product itself. I was literally just, I remember like about maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I texted a buddy of mine who will always chat wrestling with, and I say, you have not heard this from me for a long time. Everything about Dynamite was good. And he was like, what? So I should watch this week? I'm like, yes, you should watch this week because it was an enjoyable show from beginning to end.
There it is. Speaking of enjoyable, we love to see when he appears. It is Seti.
Oh, if we say his name, he'll appear?
He'll appear. That's how it is here.
All right.
What?
That's a very respectful introduction, It's very unlike you, TK. I see I'm earning some respect around here.
See, Cedric, she's trying to behave well since I'm over here today, so she want to make sure
I see what it is.
That was a good impression. So you're welcome.
I appreciate that. Somebody has to keep her in check and keep her in line.
Wow.
Normally these introductions go way left.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ced. I really appreciate you for showing up. With that being said, did you get a chance to watch the where are we? Did you get to watch the Women's Speed Championship on Twitter today?
I have not. It's something I'll go back and watch. That's actually a really interesting contrast of styles in that match. It was Kalani Jordan and Ivy Now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something I'll go back and watch. Probably be a very fun 3 minutes. But it's one thing about Speed that I hope people continue to catch on because it's still here. I get that people might not want to watch a match on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, but it's highlighting the women's division, top to bottom. So for some of your faves who might not be on Monday Night Raw on Netflix, might not be on USA Fridays, maybe not even on Main Event, at least you get to see them. And I love the mashup between NXT and all the main roster stars because nobody's exempt. Anybody can wrestle for the Speed title. There is no divisions, cruiserweights, smaller, anything. Everybody. Hell, Ivar was wrestling for the men's Speed Championship. So it's something I hope everybody continues to support. It's the closest thing I think we'll get to Mixed Match Challenge, which was my favorite.
Yeah, that one was on Facebook. Why do you think? Because Josh, we actually were talking about this. I wonder what the numbers are because Speed's been going on since I think the middle of fall last year. Is that what they debuted, or was it been a little bit longer?
I'm guessing probably it's definitely been over a year now.
Okay, well, no, that's definitely. Oh, yeah, we are about to be June. So, do you guys both think that because this is a deal struck with X? Obviously there has to be money. There's no WWE doing a deal without money that doesn't even exist. So do you think people are actually watching this, or are they, because it's so short, are they coming back to it? Or I think that's the first question. I have a follow-up question with that, but what do you think you also brought 24/7 that championship and how you thought it was god awful. So what do we think? I
said it had its moments.
You did.
It then fizzled away. I mean, the Speed Championship. I mean, to Cedric's point, the benefit of it is, like we were saying, you're having anyone on the roster have a shot at getting the exposure, even if it's only for 3 minutes. My big critique with it is, why are the Speed Champions never showing up on other shows with the titles? Is it something like, hey, if this matters, then it should be displayed, or it shouldn't even be mentioned? The other day they mentioned, I think it was McAfee mentioned how Grande Americano is the men's Speed champion, which I feel like is the first time I have heard Monday Night Raw mention the Speed champion ever. And it's the type of thing of, well, I like the concept, the format for it. I think it's fun. And again, you have the different styles. I mean, you have guys like Eric and Ivar in singles matches against people for just 3 minutes. So it's very intriguing with that. However, if it's not something that we are trying to promote on Raw, on SmackDown, on NXT, then why even have a title? Let's just have, hey, this week's edition of Speed, here's the match. And we're still having a match. We're still in the enjoyment of it. But if we're not acknowledging the champions with title wins, why bother having the title?
Set.
Well, I think to that point, I mean, it is an exclusive title. So I think whatever the deal it is with X and Twitter is that you want to promote it to where, hey, this is the only place you can see it. But to that same breath, like on NXT, I believe Soul's carrying around both belts.
Was she carrying them around?
She's
actively
showing.
Finally.
Yeah, she's actively showing that she's a champ.
Good.
So I think that's where some branding's going there for her. On the men's side, I feel like Big Grande. I feel like there's so much depth there with the storyline with him versus the Luchadors being undefeated, all that I don't think they want the Speed Championship to be intervening in that. But again, I think it just goes back to them wanting to have the exclusivity to just X. So I don't think they report their numbers. I don't think it's something that they want to do necessarily. They want to make it seem like, hey, if you want to watch this, this is here. This is the only place that you can receive it.
Yeah. Well, because, like to that point, I mean, when Andrade was Speed Champion, we never saw him with it. Candice LeRae, when she was Speed Champion, we never really saw her with it on SmackDown. So I'm glad if Sol Ruka's being seen with the title, because that's something. Yeah, I mean, and if it's an exclusive thing, well, then if it's an exclusive thing, then WWE on their separate programming should never promote it if it's supposed to be only X.
Right.
So it just contradicts itself.
Well, actually, no, because they probably want X. They probably want people to go and watch it on X. So I think
of course they want to them to watch.
Yeah,
it.
I think the
But
funnel
if they
is
don't let it happen, then why?
Right, but I think the funnel is not a cross promotion; it's a funnel to X, because I feel like X is hypothetically, X might have already paid them their money, so they already got the money. So it's more like it's not a cross promotional thing where it's like, oh, you guys head over to whatever. It's like, no, go. X is already taking care of us. We're sending you guys over, therefore, so X can pay us again for the next round. That's what the deal that it seems like it is. What I mean, y'all don't take mine. I was just merely guessing, but that's why we're not seeing a cross where like people on Raw are saying, "Hey, go and check out X because it happened whenever." Like they're doing it on socials, but they're not doing it on the show. So I think it's definitely funneling up versus cross promotion. And who doesn't like to get a check for just showing up? Like, here you go, just show us some content for 3 minutes. You're getting paid. If this deal is what I think it is, they're getting money to produce 3-minute content. They send over to X that gets aired once a week for however many weeks, and then they get another check after 12 weeks. That's a good deal, and it's WWE.
Can I have part of that check?
Part.
I'll show up and do something for 3 minutes. That's fine.
That could have went way left on another show. Maybe WWT After Dark.
I am here talking about wrestling. I don't know where you were trying to take that, TK, but now I'm starting to understand what Cedric was saying at the beginning in regards to the crudeness of
crudeness. Well, let's get into AEW Dynamite. It's happening tonight. You can check out our watch along show with Courtney. So watch along and post show is going to be happening. It's going to be taking place in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we have quite a few matches. We have Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs and Swerve. Sort of Strickland in the All-Star Trios match. So what do you think is, Joss, as our current resident or our today resident AEW watcher, what do you think is going to happen in this match?
I mean, it's all like building up for the Anarchy in Arena which I think that's this weekend. It's either this weekend or next weekend. I think it's this weekend.
Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday. So, I mean, that's 6 of the 8 people in it. I'm hopeful. I don't know if they've officially announced to people in the Anarchy in the Arena match yet, but I'm hopeful that the other 2 would be Marina and Willow. That said, it's probably going to end up being Gabe Kidd and somebody else. But, you know, it's going to be a very entertaining match. And I'd be shocked if this would be one of the rare moments where AEW could have a match that results in a no contest, where, you know, like it just emerges into this insane brawl with other people and weapons that they throw it out because it's building to the Anarchy in the Arena. Mm-hmm. So this would be one of those few moments where I would be okay if it were a no contest finish. More than likely, it will probably be Moxley and the Bucks winning it.
Okay. Set.
You're asking me what I'm looking forward to on Dynamite?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't even remember the last time I've been here, but the contract signing.
Mm-hmm.
The Hurt Syndicate contract signing with MJF, I think that'll be one of the more entertaining segments of the night. Mm-hmm. In addition, Mercedes and Jamie Hayter, who have come to blows a lot the past few weeks, they get to go face-to-face before this Owen Hart tournament final on Sunday. So obviously seeing Mercedes anytime, but we know what's going to happen on Sunday, and we know what belt is getting added in Texas over the summer. So like we can skip the casualties. Like Miss Scooby-Doo just here. Like she just a footnote. Which reminds me, Hiroshi, I ain't forget. You got to see me. Everybody in the chat knows. You know what you did. You did that across the street from my home. You got to see me soon. I ain't gonna say your last name. You just Hiroshi.
Josh is like,
I am so lost right now, but I'm just like, yeah, watch it. Watch out. You don't mess with Cedric. I don't. Yeah. No backstory needed.
We should be going into Sunday with 4 belts. We're only going in with 3. That is a problem with me. It's a huge problem.
Also, for those in the Arizona area, Seth will be in town for AEW Double or Nothing. So
don't
definitely
be telling people where I'm at. What is that?
Wait, what's the address of the hotel he's staying at in the room? And where's he getting dinner prior?
That will be on WWT After Dark. That's
okay.
The WWT.
But if you do want to grab drinks with the mayor, I will be at Double or Nothing. TK has given me the WWT black card. Yeah, very excited about that. No limit to what I could spend, by the way. And she's actually flying me out first class. So
there it is.
This will be my first time experiencing first class. So I don't know what to expect. TK talks to me about it all the time. I guess you can get massages, foot rubs, and whatever. Unlimited favors is what she told me she gets in first class.
Yeah. Anything for my favorite co-host. There it is.
That is a lie. that is a lie. But we'll let TK get that off.
Also, too, there is going to be a Double or Nothing watch along as well, so you can definitely check that out too. And I think there was another. Oh yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Josh, about the Hurt Syndicate and the MJF signed the contract to join. What do you think is going to come out with this? Because we did talk about it briefly last week. But what do you think? Do you think this is going to be a long story, or is this going to turn dark quickly in a matter of months?
I mean, I've been very entertained with it up to this point, and I want it to continue for a period of time. I mean, I'm sure it's going to result with MJF eventually, turning on the Hurt Syndicate with a new group of people, whether he's reuniting with FTR to help them get the tag titles back, or or if Wardlow returns from hibernation, who knows? That said, I'm intrigued for the ride because MVP is fantastic, and I really feel like this is the best Shelton Benjamin that we have seen this decade. So I'm enjoying it. I'm curious where it's going to go. I thought it was an interesting wrench with the little Mark Sterling cameo from last week.
Mhm.
Then Jeff saying, "Oh, I need my lawyer to look over the contract," and MVP was very confused about that. So we'll see what happens with it tonight, but it might be a continued thing because last week the commentary was just putting over how surprised they were that they said yes. So I think it might be good with, hey, you continue. Hey, I'm surprised the contract signing happened without a hitch. Like I want it to be a surprise that it's progressing.
Mm-hmm. I think the visuals, it's so hard adding all this in, but I need to add this in because it's really piqued my interest. We're seeing MJF, the visuals of being part of the Hurt Syndicate, just like when it happens. And now week to week, he's going to be dressed in the suits and doing all the things. That's just on a storyline alone. Like I want to see that, which again, not to say stories can't happen. Why can't we do these same type of stories for the women?
I agree with that. You should absolutely, do storylines for the women. I mean, I put a woman in the Hurt Syndicate too. I mean, why not?
Who would you put?
I mean, well, if they're trying to be, if they are a heel faction, if I'm looking over the AEW roster right now, who would I put? That's a good question. I'm spacing on the names. Oh shoot. I mean, you could do something like bring Red Velvet over.
Oh, let's get somebody recognizes you, Dylan, from the chat. Are my eyes deceiving me?
Is that yes, it's the Josh Tariff. That's correct. The one and only. Yes, I know my last name has been in the news for the last 6 months. It's not me. I'm not responsible. But yeah, like, well, someone like Red Velvet. I mean, you could do something like maybe even Statlander. It's tries like throw a powerhouse in there because of her back and forth that's happening with Willow anyway. So there can definitely be a female in there. And to your point, that would do something else for the women's division because you have someone else involved now with that group.
That would actually be a really good crossover. Bristol as the ROH TV champ, and then she comes over AEW as part of the Hurt Syndicate, and then they can also kind of assist in her ROH reign of trying to, collect belts. Or, I mean, she has said that she, wants to have a Mercedes match with Mercedes. So
right, and someone in the chat just said that was the name I was forgetting, Aminata.
Mm-hmm. Minato would be a great.
Minato would be great for her too. And to your point, well, at Double or Nothing, Hurt Syndicate's taking on Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, who are the ROH Tag Champions.
They are still,
huh?
They're still the tag team champions.
They're still the tag champs. Dustin Rhodes still has 2 titles right now. So yeah, if they're doing some little crossover with ROH, why not? I mean, you could even, I'll throw another random name out there that could work. Deonna Purrazzo. She hurts people with submissions, and they're not doing anything really with her right now. Why not? Why not someone like her?
I, for one, hope this crossover with MJF and his Hurt Syndicate makes things get really silly, which I think we see with MJF pairings traditionally over time. I hope it brings out like a different, softer side of Bobby Lashley, where we just see some range we didn't know he had. I'm thinking the Chris Jericho musical. I'm thinking the double clothesline kangaroo kicks. I hope we get that version of Bobby Lashley on screen, even if it's just for like a few weeks.
Sing and dance. Can we get him to sing and dance?
So Queen. Honey chiming in. What up, Honey? The Syndicate would do very well with Queen on their side. Yeah, I like that too. Speaking of somebody doing very well, Roman Reigns. So it's been announced he's in talks to star in the live action Street Fighter movie. I feel like they did a Street Fighter movie before and it didn't do too well. I might be completely wrong.
We don't talk about that.
The Jean-Claude Van Damme one?
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
It's there though. It's on VHS if you're interested.
So with that being said, are you excited about this? I mean, the role that as far as I know, the last role that Roman Reigns had was the one in the movie with Rock. It was a small part.
It was that was Hobbs and Shaw, right? It wasn't the actual Fast and Furious franchise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, are y'all looking forward to this? Are you feeling that Roman needs to stay currently with the WWE? Because there's so much more. There's more to the story, the Bloodline story.
That's done.
You think the Bloodline's okay?
It's
before I go off, Josh, what do you think?
I don't think it's done. I mean, it's definitely shifted gears now.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still some pieces because, I mean, eventually you got people that will come back from injuries. You still have. Does anyone know what they're doing with Hikuleo? Because he's been signed, like waiting for like a year to get involved in this Bloodline stuff. I was very surprised that all of a sudden you bring Jeff Cobb to be, around Solo, because it's the first guy around them that is not in the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like there is still something because I don't feel like the Bloodline story has gotten its official conclusion.
Right.
And a story like this, based on how long it's gone, will have it. I mean, they're not like in the third inning per se, like how they would say once upon a time. They're in, bottom of seventh, top of the eighth. It's getting closer to the end. But I don't think they're there yet.
Oh, I agree with Honey. Bloodline story is never ending. We're talking 50 years. But let me also introduce another guest to the show as we were doing our final couple stories. We have Ashley Janai. She's an artist, writer, producer. She's also has a podcast, Wrestling Discussions. Hey, Ashley, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself? And thank you so much for that introduction.
No problem. So meet Sed and Josh in the chat with us as well. We're just kind of
how you doing?
Hi.
Doing well.
Doing all right.
That's good.
So we're kind of talking about the Bloodline as far as if it's ever going to end. We were just talking about Roman Reigns signing a possible deal to for Street Fighter, the movie.
Okay.
I feel like there's still things to do for the Bloodline. Do you think we have a couple more years? We have 50 years, as one of our other co-hosts, Honey, said. What are you over it, or are you for more Bloodline? What's your thoughts?
I'm actually for more Bloodline because if you think about it, Jacob Fatu is now the United States champion, and I want to see him and Solo go at it. So I think, in my opinion, that Bloodline angle is going to go on for some time. And then you can't sleep on the Tonga kids either, like Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. They're still, I know Tongaloa's out on injury, so he's going to come back at some point. And then again, too, you got to look at what direction Jimmy Uso was going to take, too. You know, because as we all know, his twin brother Jay is the champion. Now they got to see what direction Jimmy is going to go in. And then we got to see if Naomi or Nia Jax might join the Bloodline at some point. So I think they're going to keep that Bloodline going for some time, though. I don't see no end to it.
See?
And I think it's a great angle, too.
See, you came at the right time. Now, what do you guys think about that? She just listed like 6 stories.
I'm 100% in agreement with her. You know, like, again, they're not done yet.
No.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's still Hikuleo. There's still, everyone keeps talking about when is WWE going to sign Zilla?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you know, like there's still more pieces that they can, you know, put with the story. And, you know, the key thing is, it can't be the forefront for eternity. There have to be other stories because you got to push other people and other stories. But it will stay around for at least a little while longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely.
Cousin Ron saying there's a Zilla in the wild. Yeah, when because you know it's going to happen. When he gets added to the mix, it's gonna be crazy. So yeah. And Jeffrey's saying Zilla just became the ROW champion again.
Reality wrestling.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's talk about a little bit about NXT before we move on. NXT has moved its May 27th taping out of Tampa due to lack of ticket sales. Presumed to be back in the PC. They'll confirm a new location soon. Do you think that's the case? Is it ticket sales, or do you think it's something else? We'll start with Ashley first.
I think it might be something else, because if you think about it, when has WWE ever had issues with attracting fans? So I just think it's got to be more to it. And if you think about it, NXT is really doing well so far, and it has come a long way. So I think, in my opinion, it's just got to be something else, though.
Josh,
you know.
I think there could be something there, only because they're now trying to do this. Hey, we're going to put on 3, 4, 5 big shows in the same city in a row, and we're expecting you to pay that money to go to all of them. So, you know, like, because they're doing the Satellite main event, they're doing Battleground, they're doing Raw, and then there was going to be NXT after all of them. And I mean, even in Vegas over WrestleMania, over that week of all the shows, the one that they were having the most difficulty selling tickets for was the NXT, because that was all the way at the end of the week, because everyone's wrestled out and tickets are so much more money now. I know WrestleMania weekend tickets are certainly different than this weekend in Tampa tickets, but it's still a lot of money and a lot of events that are happening. So I think there could be something there in regards with, maybe you can't do this many shows consecutively in one city.
True.
Said?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I think it's just maybe like wrestling fatigue. We gotta remember that while NXT is booming and is doing really well, there's still a lot of, if you want to call them main roster fans, that maybe aren't that tapped into the product yet. I just looked it up. The Youngling Center holds 10,500 seats, and they're saying they reported less than 2,000 tickets that got sold. So, I mean, you can make the TV magic, make it look good, but maybe it's just not worth keeping everybody out there that much longer. You're running, they're running SmackDown out there too, right?
I think they're running that.
Is SmackDown
Saturday
happening as well?
Yeah.
In Tampa?
Yeah, I think so.
So you had 4 days worth of shows already. You're going to have Battleground out there following main event and Monday Night Raw. I mean, I'm not mad at the idea. It sucks that it got publicized the way it did, because it makes the brand look bad. I don't think the brand is going to suffer for that. They'll still put on a great show on Tuesday night following Battleground.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many. Yeah, I think definitely the wrestle out thing. But then AEW is trying that same concept too. I think in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, where they're going to do the same location, like 4 shows. So, yeah,
The
I don't
one thing
know.
with AEW though is they typically have days off in between them.
Okay.
To go with Cedric's point of wrestling fatigue, because that is a thing.
Yeah.
So
you
we
got
have
like
Dynamite
4
on
days in a row.
Wednesday, you have Collision on Friday, and then pay-per-view maybe they're doing on Sunday. So you still have space for people to recover and hype themselves up for the next show.
Yeah, Maria saying wrestling is becoming too saturated. I feel like, is it becoming saturated I feel like the people who watch wrestling for fun, they usually stick to the certain products that they like. If they're a TNA fan, they tend to watch TNA. I guess there's, and I actually I have the ROH subscription. I actually do like ROH, but I don't know what the percentage of people who watch it. It's $9.99 for that. So, the same thing for NXT or TNA. I don't, or AEW. I don't necessarily think everybody tries to watch everything timing wise. If you're, you have a family or kids or a job or all this, I think it's hard to balance all that stuff week in and week out. So it does feel a little bit saturated, but I think it's just for the people who are really attempting to watch everything. Because it's essentially a part-time job when you count out all the hours for all the wrestling shows, and that's not including the OVWs or the WOWs or Row, or like there's all the indie stuff too. Like it's another job.
Yeah.
Seem like you had something to say, Sid?
Nah, it's. I think somebody says disinterest. It's literally just too much. Like, I'll speak for myself. The mayor is tired. The mayor has not watched wrestling since the last watch along, which was last week. That's why you guys didn't get a watch along or a post show on Monday, because the mayor is tired. There's too much damn wrestling. So the mayor is taking a mental health break from all things wrestling, because the mayor been in the streets doing TK's good gospel, spreading the good WWT word, and it takes a lot of energy. Don't got time to watch it. But I'll get back to it.
Shout out to the mayor. If you guys were in the sticks of California, he went out there. He met Booker T. He met Saraya. Who else did you see out there?
They actually met the mayor, but you worded it wrong.
This is what I appreciate about you, Cedric. Your modesty. I like it.
Yeah.
No, we'll drop the interviews at some point. Won't give you no warning. We'll just drop them. But we got to talk with Mickey James, Mick Foley, Booker T and Charmel, and Saraya over at Ontario Comic-Con this past weekend.
So it was a good weekend, spreading the WWT gospel according to Cedric. With that being said, I feel like that's all we got. Just Maria saying props to they came to see the mayor. Oh my gosh.
I had a booth and everything. TK didn't pay for it. I had to bring my own stuff, my own table, pictures, but yeah.
Pictures. People are buying your pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
There it is. Well, I think that's it for today. We want to give you guys some time, a little bit of a break from the wrestle fatigue, so you guys can hop back in at 5 p.m. Pacific time to watch Courtney and the watch along for AEW Dynamite. But with that being said, ladies first, Ashley, where can everybody find you?
So everybody can find me on Instagram at Blue Shades 1993. I am on Facebook at Ashley Janae, X at Ashley Janae 93. And then also you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, which is Ashley Janae.
There it is. Josh, aka Rosenberg.
Yes.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Same here.
You could follow me on Instagram and X at Josh_Tariff. Those of you that follow or want updates with Christian Rosenberg, next appearance for him will be at Pro Wrestling Odyssey's Wrestle for Autism benefit show in Santa Clarita on June 7th. As well as if you go to my YouTube page, Josh Tariff, on YouTube, I just posted up. I did a Yes and Wrestling improv wrestling themed show in Vegas over WrestleMania week. It is now up on there. My special guests were Shane Haste, Bad Dude Tito, and the librarian, Leva Bates. So it was a lot of fun. It is not suitable for work, so don't blast it in your office because there could be some bad words said during the show. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys soon, and follow me to get for more adventures on what's happening with me.
All right. And the mayor, where can people see you? Where can people see you?
Well, since you already gave my location, I guess you can see me this Sunday at AEW's Double or Nothing, but you won't know where I'm staying exactly. But as usual, I don't want your follows. We're going to pop out with some interviews at some point this week. I guess I'm becoming a TikToker this week. But I do want to shout out the homie Scoofius, who I met at Ontario Comic-Con this past weekend. Okay. He does art. He does a lot of cool graphics for wrestling lore. That is the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys. If you see in my background, I'll pull that up in a second. We got some Bloodline stuff here.
Okay.
If you see in my background, he also got me this sweet Booker T artwork here that I did get signed by Booker. Shout outs to Booker for signing it. And we also got Bianca Belair. So he has everything. Wow. You can follow him at Scoofius on IG. He's a part of the Bloodline. I believe he's Rikishi's nephew out here based out of Long Beach. Does great work. And I wanted to shout him out because he has some very phenomenal work. It's not just wrestling. He does pop culture, video games, gaming, art, but his work is really dope.
I thought you would have got one of yourself.
We're working on that, you know. For we have, since you said that, he'll actually be at the WWT watch along SmackDown that we're doing. I don't know if we're going to do some art, but we're going to have some prints of me there for sale because we got to recoup your body butter sales that may have, wherever they're at. I don't want to tell your business, but we got to get the budget back up.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining. Sorry, my dog, she ready to take her walk. Thank you guys for everybody in the chat. Jeffrey, Joseph, Dylan, Maria. Thank you guys for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Definitely check out the watch along that's happening tonight for AEW. We also have our WWT Live happening on Friday, SmackDown happening on Friday as well. We are bringing back WoW. So for our folks who watched me and Christina for WoW, that is coming back next week. And a lot of interviews are dropping and another series that's going to be happening. So definitely keep it locked to Women's Wrestling Talk. You can follow us everywhere at www talkpod.com. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at www talkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.